Nicholas Rushworth, he joins me in the studio now. Hello, Nicholas.
Hello, Lorne.
Right, so what's hitting the front pages around the world this Friday?
Right, I'm not going to say Lorne, I'm going to say Lorna. We're going to not have any gaffes. We get straight down to business. And here we've got the Independent. We're talking about the Libya conference yesterday. That's been covered in full in our bulletin. And here you can see on the front page of the Independent two photos, one in 2007 showing President Nicolas Sarkozy shaking hands with Muammar Gaddafi, and then one yesterday. A striking contrast there, meeting the two leaders of the National Transition Council, the National Transitional Council. Now, The Guardian, another UK paper, is covering that meeting as well in full. And I was struck by this piece, Sarkozy the Libyan sees the day. And it's by the Paris correspondent of The Guardian, Angélique Chrysafis. And she has she's basically arguing that Libya is Sarkozy's date with history. And she says, and I quote, "By taking a leading role, the deeply unpopular leader, Nicolas Sarkozy, hopes with one swoop to save the badly tarnished image of French policy in the Arab world, prove that France matters on the global stage, and save his re-election battle for 2012.
Indeed, it is good timing for him, isn't it? This,
yes, obviously he's pushing away. He's pushing that Libya button quite heavily. Now, the China Daily on the other side of the planet, Beijing, has another angle on this. It has an headline: "Libyan people first." And now that is an editorial. It says that even while the dust has yet to settle, the haste with which NATO countries are scrambling to grab a share of the dividends of war has caused many to question the true intentions of military intervention. Now, that editorial is arguing that Libyans need stability and not foreign companies fighting over lucrative contracts. Now, that I thought was, I looked up what were China's interests in Libya before, and it turns out that last year Libya provided 3% of Chinese oil. Obviously, Gaddafi's demise is a threat to Chinese investments in the country. Now, concerning Gaddafi himself, I saw this cartoon in the Australian. It's actually by Peter Brooks of the Times of the UK, and there you can see it shows Gaddafi hiding under a cloak with Saif, his son. They are disguised as a camel, and there you can see money dropping to the floor. So, well, of course, this meeting in Paris centred on Libya, but in fact also included in the sidelines discussions about another country in tumult, which is Syria. And the International Herald Tribune has another cartoon I saw that of Bashar al-Assad. There you can see him. The pedestal of his statue is shown as a pile of rubble. Is he about to fall? And that cartoon includes the words "in solidarity with Ali Farzat," and that's the Syrian cartoonist who was dragged from his car and beaten up last week. His hands are broken. Can you imagine? Not able to do his job, basically. The International Herald Tribune, in its editorial, is saying the world is fed up with Assad, but the Syrian leader still has powerful enablers. There you can see the headline of the editorial, isolating Assad. Now, that editorial condemns Russia, China, India, Brazil and South Africa for blocking a UN Security Council resolution that could impose broad international sanctions on Damascus. And the editorial concludes the complicity of those countries is shameful. Another cartoon, this time in the USA Today, and that's echoing the concerns about Syria. It has a picture again of Farzat, the cartoonist, there, his hands beaten into a pulp by Assad, the cartoonist lying on the ground. Assad turns and stares and says, "Stop drawing those editorial cartoons that make me look like a foolish, brutal tyrant." And I just want to end quickly on one paper, the Wall Street Journal. It's looking at aging. What would it be like if you're 100-something? And it says that experiments on worms, flies and monkeys aim to slow aging. But it asks, well, you know, what happens when we reach 100? We're going to be miserable, tired and cranky. What's the point?
OK, well, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we won't be miserable, tired and cranky. Thank you very much indeed, Nicholas, for that look at all today's international newspaper headlines. Well, still to come here.